If you're going to start a business for yourself, a side hustle or an actual all-out business, it's important that you set yourself up the correct way for tax purposes. Incorporate.com, great service. I used it myself to start my business many years ago. It will allow you to set up a C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, or a nonprofit all through the web. They'll answer questions for you. They're not legal experts. You should have one of your own, but they make the process of setting up a business very easy. So use the link in the show notes to go to incorporate.com. It will help you a lot. And we'll be back in just one moment. Episode 2100 of the number one podcast in Apple Podcasts for job search. You're listening to No BS Job Search Advice Radio. I'm your host, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to a momentous episode. No show is close to this number of episodes in Apple Podcasts. 2,100 episodes as of today, and we're still going strong. I'm still going strong. I'm interviewing people and releasing it on a once-a-week schedule. I've got a show tomorrow about severing from the military, transitioning from the military, and finding work once you're out. Now, today's show is one about whether or not work-life balance is better at a bigger firm. Hope you find this helpful. Hope you give it a great review, an honest review wherever you listen to the show, and tell me what you think about what my opinion is. It's okay to disagree with me. I'm not going to try and ban you, cancel you, reject you, however you want to phrase it. I'm just curious what you think. And we'll be back in just one moment. Today's show is brought to you by Fiverr.com. That's the word 5 with 2 R's after it.com. Fiverr is a site for freelance work. You can hire freelancers to do a variety of things for you. You can be a freelancer on it as well and experiment with the site to see whether what you want to be doing professionally outside of the rat race, outside of your full-time job, is viable. It's basically a site where they'll do the billing and collection for you and pay you once they've received the money. In addition, if you want to hire people like I do for book editing, transcriptions and such, very inexpensive, and I've had very good work for me. So again, it's Fiverr.com. You can use the link in the show notes. Frankly, you'll get a good deal from it if you do that. Now, let's get going. Is work-life balance better at bigger companies? I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and that's the question for today from someone. Is work-life balance better at bigger companies? The answer is yes and no. It's not the size of the firm that makes a difference. You can be working workaholic hours no matter where you work it. Big, small, medium, self-employed. People put in effort, and even when there is fewer hours, even when it's not, shall we say, a workaholic climate, often what happens is the work is boring because you have no connection with it. You're just doing mindless work that causes you to zone out mentally, and that creates a different frustration. So when I see work-life balance as a question, I tend to think of it as serial situations. There are times where you have a lot of effort and a lot of work that you got to put in, and there are times less so. Big company, small company, really makes no difference. It exists in both places. And when you're interviewing, you need to understand what the expectations are from the hiring manager. What are their expectations of a work schedule? And you can just ask very simply, what does a typical day look like for me in this role? What do my peers do on a typical day? Your best performer, what do they do? And when do they get in? When do they leave? Now, if you hear that they're in at 7 and they're out at 7, well, you've got some information there. And along the way, you can find out from the people that you talk to, other than the hiring manager, what it's like as well. So that's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, I've got a lot that's in the show notes that will help you. Go there, take a look at some of the things I highlight. I know it can help you with your search. But I want you to do one thing for me, and that is put in your phone thebiggamehunter.us, Jeff Altman, my name. And when you need help, when you need advice, when you have a question, come over to the website, go exploring in the blog, contact me for coaching or because you have a question. I'd love to help you. In the meantime, I hope you have a terrific day, and most importantly, be great! Today's show is brought to you by JobScan. JobScan is a site where, frankly, they take some of the issues with the black hole, the applicant tracking system, and really help you fix your resume so that it's able to get through the system. Now, the way it was started out is there was a job hunter named James who was running into problems getting his resume through the applicant tracking systems, because he found that they were parsing, ranking, and filtering resumes with algorithms. So what he did was develop a system that helps you figure out how your resume matches up against specific jobs and makes recommendations for how to tweak it to make it get through the systems. Not 100% perfect, but much, much better than what most people get. So use the link in the show notes. You will get better results with your resume when you submit it through the ATS. Now, we'll be back in just one moment.